Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing 3 easy DIYs for fall. The first one that I'm going to be doing is painting a pumpkin to make it a little more realistic. Now I'm going to be using a pumpkin like this. I have 2 that look like this and 2 that are solid orange. The one I'm going to be painting here is going to be the solid orange. I got these at Walmart a few years back. They're just styrofoam. And I'm going to do a little treatment to them first to make them a little more realistic before I paint it. I'm just going to be pushing in here and there with my thumbs and making indents. This will give the pumpkin a little bit more character. Now this pumpkin had a little bit more damage to it than the first one I showed you, which was perfectly smooth, but I wanted to give it a little bit more character to it. And then I'm also going to be using the end of my craft paintbrush here to put some lines in. You can also put little holes in it, a bunch of little holes to make little pits. You can put as many lines as you want. I'm going to do quite a few on this one. I just think it gives it a lot more character, and this is really going to pop out when you do your painting. You can also antique your pumpkins too, but I'm just going to be basically painting this a solid color. So I will be continuing doing this over the whole pumpkin, and then it'll be ready for painting. So this is the color I'm going to be using. It's called Pueblo, and I got it at Walmart. And I'm going to be putting 2 coats of paint around the whole pumpkin. I'm not being super careful around the stem because I will be painting the stem. Now that it's dry, this is the color I'm going to use around the stem and on the stem. Again, I got this at Walmart. The first thing I want to do is put some more of that Pueblo paint on here and have it wet. Then I'm going to take the brown and I'm just going to add daubs on here and there. And then I will be going back over it with the Pueblo color. And it just kind of, and I'm going to be blending it down in a little bit just to give it a little bit of darkness around the stem area. And then I will be painting the stem. This is a very subtle one that I'm doing. You can make it even darker if you want. So here's how the pumpkins turned out. I really love this effect. It gives them a little bit more character, makes them a little more realistic looking. So the next project that I'm going to be doing is just taking a sign that I already have and painting just on the back side for fall. So this will give it a dual purpose. This is a pretty large size sign that I usually put on my front porch. So what I did was I used some chalkboard paint and painted 2 coats on the back side, and I'm just going to be using a white, and I'm going to be stenciling on here. So you just take your stencil brush, put a little dab of paint on it, and I use a paper towel and I just rub it in, and then I'm just going to be dabbing on the stencil here. And I'm not doing it super dark, you know, a little darker in some spots. I want it to look more kind of like chalk. That's the effect that I'm trying to do here. So I will have it a little thicker in some areas and thinner in others. So really fast here, sped it up. We're just going to go really quickly through here. As you can see, I'm doing it really light in some areas and heavier in others. And you can tape down your stencil if you want. I was a little afraid to do that, even with painter's tape. I didn't want anything to happen with the chalkboard paint. But I just kind of hold it in place. This is a really heavy stencil. I got this from Amazon. And it did move a little bit on me, but that's okay. Just slide it back. And I believe that this stencil came in different sizes. I got a pretty good big size one because this board is pretty big. And I am going to be using this in my next video. So here's how it looks right now. And now I have this other stencil that I'm going to be using, and I also got this off of Amazon. And it's just 4 little pumpkins that I'm going to put down below. And I'm just using the same technique on this. This one I'm doing a little bit heavier. The lines are really much smaller on here, so I want to make sure you can see all the detail. Okay, now what I've done here is I've just taken some chalk and I've just rubbed it in areas like so, and I just move it around with my fingers. I kind of like the look of this with having the chalk around it. And that is all that I'm going to be doing to this sign. And I use it for fall now and also for Christmas. So here's how it looks. Again, I'm going to be using this in my next video, and it's going to go up above on my fireplace mantle. I really love how this turned out, and I get double duty for the sign. Now this pumpkin here I'm showing you is my sample of what I want to do. This is a pumpkin I already have, and I want to recreate this with a styrofoam pumpkin. I'm using paper clay, my styrofoam pumpkin, and I'm going to be using this paintbrush here, just the end of it. So what I've done is I've taken some of my paper clay and I've just kind of tested it to see if this is what I want to do. Just put pieces on. You want to push it in onto here, and I'm also building it up in spots. I'm not making it really thin on here. I'm making it thick because I'm going to be making holes in it. As you can see, I've already done it because I was testing it out to see if it was going to work. And I'm just doing one little section at a time. Take the end of the paintbrush, just poke a bunch of holes and smooth it down a little bit. And just keep doing that around the whole pumpkin. Very easy technique. So now that I'm getting all the holes in it that I want, I'm also going to have to make the indentation for each section a little bit more so you can see it. So what I'm going to be doing is I'll be taking the end of the paintbrush again, and I'm just going to press down into each section just so you can see it better, because I will be painting this, and you want to make sure that you can see each section clearly. You know, when I first saw that, and I've had that pumpkin for a long time, the sample one, I got it at Hobby Lobby, and I've always wanted to have more, and I was trying to think, what can I use to make one look like this? And I remembered I had the paper clay, and I thought I would try it out. So here is how it looks dry. And I actually have 2 of these pumpkins, but I'm only going to be making one like this. But here's the before and here's the after. Now this little pumpkin here, I'm going to be making using the paper clay and doing the same technique on here also, but I'm not going to show you anything on the video here of that one. So now that everything is dry, it did do a little cracking on it, but I think that looks really cool having the cracks on it. And what I'm going to be doing is using 4 different paints that I'm mixing because I want to use a darker color. I'm going to use my Pueblo here again. And I have my raw Umber, just like I like to use on the stems. And this one is red iron oxide. And this one is tangerine. And I just mixed all 4 of them together till I got the color that I wanted, because this is my base coat. And I checked all my craft paints and I just didn't have the right color. So sometimes you got to mix. And I'm just adding water also to my brush because I want to make sure I can get into all the little holes that this made because I don't want any white to show. This was the hardest part, was getting the paint on. I did have to do 2 coats and just trying to get all of it into the little holes. So now that I have my 2 coats on, I'm going to be using this color here, and I'm going to be stenciling it on. Now this one I want to be a little bit lighter color, but not as light as the original pumpkin, just a little bit darker. So I'm just going to be dabbing a lot of this color on. You can use as much as you want or as little. It even looks nice just the color that it is. But again, like I said, I'm trying to recreate the other pumpkin just in different shades. And I did do the little one, which I made it darker, so I didn't put as much of this color on it as I'm doing on this one, since I want this one to be a little bit lighter. So I'll be continuing on, and then I will be using the Pueblo over it. So now that it's dry, here's how it looks. I kind of like the way it looks now, but I want to darken it just a little bit. Again, I'm going to be using the Pueblo color with a stencil brush. And I'm going to be dabbing it on the lighter color. And you know what? If you mess up, you just go back over it with the other color. You can use as many colors as you want. I'm just using these 3 colors on this one. And I'm also going to be painting the stem. So here it is. I really like how this turned out. And here is the smaller pumpkin that I did. And it might be hard to tell on here, but it is just a little bit darker. I didn't use as much of the golden brown on it. So here they are all together. The one in the back is the original one that I bought at Hobby Lobby. It's just a resin pumpkin. And then here is my take on it. I really, really love these. I think I'm going to be making a bunch more. I'm going to be using these on my mantle too with the autumn market sign. So here is everything that I did. As you can see, the colors up here much better, how they are all different. Now on Friday, like I said, I'm going to be using these on my mantle. I'm going to be doing a collaboration with my good friend Liz at Traditions by the Seasons. And we're going to be decorating our mantles for fall. Now I'm not going to be using these 3 pumpkins on there, but I'm going to be using the sign and the pumpkins on the right, plus a whole lot of more items. So I want to wish everybody a very wonderful day, and I'll see everybody on Friday. Bye for now.